How you doing, everyone? The round is over, so let's go through those last couple of games of the round and just spare a moment for my team on Sunday. Only had two players, Laurie and Little. They did well. We can all be happy. Didn't have to have any issues or any injuries, any worries, which was great. Even though my team didn't score that great, we got through unscathed, which is a good start. But anyway, let's focus on the more important things in this Raiders and Tigers game. So a lot of really high scores in this one, and from a lot of interesting players. So we're going to start with Hudson Young, and he did look really strong on that edge and did get the 80 minutes. He got a nice try, but didn't really do anything wrong. One missed tackle, one error. 117 meters, two turnover tackles, 35 tackles, and just did everything right. I'm not expecting him to score anywhere near this on a regular basis, but at $5.99, whoever picked him up is going to get a fair bit of value out of him and some nice scores to boot. So I'm expecting, somewhere in the low 50s to 50 on a regular basis, just based on his past scoring. Obviously, he looked looked great, but not going to be playing the Tigers every week and getting a try. So I'm expecting somewhere around the 50 mark, which will still make him a fair bit of cash. Tarpany with 42 minutes to 74 was incredible. Big try, big point scoring effort in that last few minutes where he got the try assist and a bunch of tackle breaks running across field with the offload there. So again, not something we'd expect regularly. A very similar score to that of Jairo in that limited minutes there. And will we expect 42 going forward? I don't think so. I'm expecting around the 50 odd minutes, but scores around the 74 and probably not going to happen. Somewhere in the 50s will be perfect for Tarpany. But if you picked him up, well done again. Luke Brooks, similar thing, just did a bit of everything. Got a couple of goals, even though they got smashed. Try assists, tackled with only one miss, which is not usual for Brooks. But 4 tackle breaks, 3 turnover tackles, again, not going to be expected. 80 odd meters and 231 kick meters. So a really strong game for Brooks. I'm expecting around the 50 mark, and that was what I pegged him for, being averaged at 40 or priced at 40 going into the season. So for anyone who picked him up, great. If you picked him over Lamb, even better. Georgie Williams had a nice strong game and definitely organised his team and got to kick goals as well. So when Croker comes back, you'll expect him to take that back. So there's 10 points away from that score. So scored a little bit above what we'd expect him to, but at 642k, he's not going to be a pickup for anyone's side at this stage. Offengawi, 43 minutes for 58 points. He looked really strong, and I likened it to back at a couple of years ago at Broncos when he was doing really well. Last year was a bit of an off year for him, and I wasn't sure if he was going to pick up that scoring potential again, but he looked really strong, got a bunch of tackle breaks, a few turnover tackles and offloads. And just what I'm really noticing in this, since the new rules are coming, this turnover tackle has been a really big scorer, and I think this is something that's going to be really important for teams going forward and will bump up a bunch of the scoring is this turnover tackle. So for those that are really good in that scenario and can hit under the ball and help dislodge it, I think this is going to be really good. You can see how many are in there, but yeah, really, really great stuff off Ngawi. He's gonna get up, around 450k and being only middle and no dual position. I guess he's an option for someone like Matt Lodge, but yeah, you kind of want to start with him because you've got guys like Leniu and Alvaro and that scoring around that 40 mark, which can do a job and make you some good cash there. So yeah, well done if you started with him. James Tamau had a great start with 49 tackles and 1 miss. But again, he's not really going to be an option for anyone's side. Lucy Leilua, 53 in his 80 minutes, so didn't have too much of a cracking game by his standards. But if that's going to be around his base, which is great, he got 5 missed tackles out of his 33. So you'd expect 53 to be around his base and the chance of some attacking stats and getting up in the 60s. So not a bad effort if you picked him up. Twile got the 59 minutes, so he did get the 20-minute spell, which I guess we were worried about for anyone who wanted to own him, but you can see his PPM super strong, and if he happens to get a few games where there's some injuries around him, I'd expect him to get close to that 80 minutes and score in the 60s. So again, a very much a base game for him, only 38 tackles, and there's if you look at his stats previously, there's a bunch of games closer to 50 tackles, but 155 meters was great to see with no real attacking stats there. So good game for Twile. Pretty much where he's priced at, so no issues there. Little got 51 points with a nice try, but 8 missed tackles was who's an annoying one, but very active in defence. So you're okay with, with obviously not okay with missing 8, but if he's missing 4 or 5 and making 50, he's gonna make a lot of money for sides and the chance of some attacking stats as well. So really happy with Little. He has already made us some good cash, up to 3 or 4, which is really good for anyone's side at this stage. Rapana, 50. Anyone who wanted to pick him up, 415 was a bit of an awkward price, but there you go. It's great to see Ryan James back. Looked really strong in his try, burrowed to the line 47 in his 41 minutes, so really cool for him, but definitely not an option at this stage. Whitehead, yeah. Laurie with 44. A couple of turnover tackles, five kick defusals, 120 metres, 4 tackle breaks, 13 tackles. I was really happy with his work rate in defence. He'd come up in the line and help out a little bit, especially closer to the line. So really happy with him. I think he had a pretty solid game and he should keep his spot, but where's Mbai going to go when Dewey comes back is the question. And that's the other question. What's going to happen to... Will he kick a little bit more in general play with, coming back into 6 with Brooks, or not? We'll have to wait and see. But Nofaluma is one of our guns. Just had an okay game, even with the try. Nickel Klukstar, is that how we say it? I'm still learning how to pronounce that one. I heard Vossi and the boys enunciating that correctly on the weekend, which is good. But he had an okay game, even with the try. 210 metres was really helpful for him, but yeah, he's not one of the best options at this stage. Hodgson, 36 in the 80 minutes. So this was kind of what I was worried about with Hodgson. He's never been a really good fantasy scorer. Needs a bunch of attacking stats. Really good player in the game, but not perfect for fantasy. Michele got 35 minutes for 35 points, but that's not relevant. Mbai 31, Garner 30. Not great for anyone who's thinking about bringing him in that sort of 80-minute role. Papali'i, 29 in 49 minutes. That's one of his lowest scores going around. And there's a few guys this year that are up in the high prices and didn't deliver. So if you're unfortunate to pick up a couple of these guys in your team, you wouldn't have scored very well, somewhere ranked in the 10,000 odds. But yeah, not so great for him at this stage, but nothing really to worry about with him. Only had 89 metres, which was strange. They do have a bunch of options though, which is helpful. Simonson did get a really nice try assist, but again, only ran for 56 metres and got 4 tackle breaks in that time with the try assist and still only got 24, so he's not a great option. You took Manu, had 23 in his 33 minutes, had 3 missed tackles for his 25, only 40 metres. That was the more concerning part. We were expecting a few more attacking stats, but then had a head knock and had to go off early. So we're not sure about his minutes, but if he's getting somewhere in the 30s, we expect him to make a little bit of cash and be one of those slow burner guys at that 246k. Chris looked really strong early and then didn't get to do too much, but Croker will be coming back. Annoying one in this game was Roberts at 19. Just as we spoke about in the preseason, just fairly erratic. Runs real hard and is throwing random passes and did get a try assist, but only 72 metres. They just didn't go to him enough and didn't give him enough early ball, so unfortunately didn't get to score very well. And someone like Tommy Talau with 9 points off the bench is going to lose a bit of cash and will be interesting to think about come a little bit later in the year if there happens to be an injury and he gets a starting spot, because you'll be able to pick him up somewhere in the 300s. So there you go, guys. That's my thoughts on that game. Fairly well dominated by the Raiders, and I'm expecting the Tigers to struggle again this year. Yeah, both teams didn't play very well at the start, and then Raiders kind of improved a bit and took the game away from the Tigers. So Brooks is going to have to step up. He wasn't he scored well in the game, but he kicked 2 out in the full. There's a little grubber. He just kicked straight to a player. There wasn't a lot of things he did really well, even though he scored well and stuffed the stat sheet. But there you go. That's my thoughts on that game. I moved to the last game in the Dragons and the Sharks. Again, we had a fair few decent scores in a game that was pretty well free flowing. It was really, really strange when you look back to that first game in the Storm and Rabbitohs. There's fairly low scoring apart from Pappenhausen and Latrell. Whereas a lot of the rest of the games, you've had a lot of players in the 50s and 60s, which is understandable with the turnover tackles, the speed of the gameplay and all that. So that's something I've noticed this week is those higher scores. And Benny Hunt did a bit of everything and got 330 metres, 119 metres gained, 23 tackles, a couple of offloads, a couple of tackle breaks, 2 try assists, a bit of everything. So He's really going to have to step up if they're going to have a decent crack this year, because they, again, weren't too great last night. They had 15 minutes of really strong play, and that was about it. And then Sharks sort of ran away with it a little bit towards the back end. McCulloch, as we thought, is going to tackle his way to victory. 64 tackles, 40 metres gain, and a tackle break for his 67 points. And he's going to be a top-line keeper this year. I wish I just started with him instead of Cook and spent the money elsewhere. But enough ranting. Save that for when I analyse my team, hey? Paul Vaughan, 62, did really well. I expect something similar to this most weeks, but maybe 170 metres, a couple more missed tackles, and 5 tackle breaks. You expect him to average somewhere in the low 50s. Townsend, I spruiked to a lot of people and didn't pick him up myself, but if you went him over Lamb, well done to you. Got the 6 goals, couple of try assists. Standard, 12 tackles, 4 misses is kind of where he's at, but 528 kick metres was awesome. So, again, they're not going to play the Dragons every week, and he might not get the couple of the try assists and maybe a couple more missed tackles. So, I personally thought he was going to average around 45 in this first 7 to 8 weeks, and a score of 59, you can allow him to have a 35 or so against some of the better teams. But well done if you picked him up. Dufty was one of those cut price, chance of keeper options, but if he scores a try every week, he's going to be great. If not, then he'll get the 30. Dugan, Nakora, not too many options there. Will Kennedy got a couple of tries and did well for anyone who decided to pick him up in the backs, but we did have a fair few options. Merrin got good minutes off the bench. They did have Tariq Sims come off in the back end, and he got a couple of, came back on for a few 10 extra minutes there. Woods did well with the try. Fulmayano, so 59 minutes he got. Really interesting he was. For those that are like myself who have lost Crichton, well, a good chance of losing Crichton for a week and don't have the edge cover, he could be a really cool option for Lodge. I don't expect him to score that well. I'm expecting somewhere in the mid-30s. He did get 36 tackles for only 2 misses and 90 metres. So, only 4 demerits in that. I'm expecting a couple more demerits. He did move to an edge at the end of the game, which allowed Merrin to come on through the middle. So if he's getting somewhere close to that 55 to 60 minutes, you could hope for scores around the 40 mark and make you a fair bit of cash with that cover and edge and mid. So I think he's a fairly decent option if he gets named at 13 again, that is. But they're subject to change that team pretty quickly. Katoa on the wing did well. Graham did his normal thing. Tolman off the bench got 45 minutes. That's something to keep an eye on as his score starts to drop a little bit. Laurie, Kerr on the edge, 480k was a bit too much. Moylan did pretty well. 18 tackles for 1 miss, I wouldn't expect very often, but did good there. Got the try assist, a couple of tackle breaks, 95 metres. So that's kind of one of his better games I would expect, and he'll make some money off that, which is good for anyone who picked him up. Alvaro. So they got him sitting at 36 now. Did he drop in points? Of course he did. Of course, my player. Had him up at 40 and they've dropped him back down. So beautiful, just what we want. Anyway, 36, so 35 tackles, tackle break, 4 missed tackles, 61 metres. So it didn't get to run too much with the Sharks, dominating a little bit during periods of him being on. But him at a point a minute in that mid-30s minutes is going to be great. He'll make some cash for anyone looking to pick him up. Lomax 34, just one of those games when he doesn't get a lot of ball. That's kind of going to be his base. Blake Brayley was pretty disappointing. Only 32 tackles, ran for 40 metres and a couple of missed tackles, which was not good for him. Toby Rudolph, again, 64 minutes for 33 is not good enough. But, you probably have to keep him based on that. He's priced at 545, so he's at like a 40-point scorer. The rest of the guys, Hamlin, Farmasuli only got 23 minutes, which was upsetting for him off the bench. You'd be wanting a little bit, would have been expecting a fair few more minutes, and he only ran for 26, so 25 tackles. Again, when he was on the field, they didn't have a lot of ball. Jack Bird was the upsetting one for the rest of these guys at 13, so 7 missed tackles. He seemed to be one that just ran out of the line and threw an arm out or tried to do too much when he tackled, which got him a bunch of those misses. But 130 metres was helpful. A couple offloads and a tackle break is good, but if you're missing 7 tackles as a centre, you're not going to do too well. So you want to give him a chance, and with a lot of the centres not doing too well, and Roberts, Averillo, Bird, these types of guys, there's a few that got in the 30s to 40, Momorowski or an Opacek or something like that, but you want to give him another chance and see how he goes over the first few weeks before rage trading him. But there you go, guys. That's our 2 games for the Sunday, and we'll just do a little bit of a recap on the whole round for those that weren't sure on a few of the scores and who did well. So Latrell looked really strong, and he comes up against Manly again. Just be wary of wanting to bring him in straight away. Yes, he should probably score well against Manly again. He looked a lot better, but I wouldn't be blowing up your team just to get him in. If you've already got your wing fullback set, if Laurie gets named again, sweet. You got Laurie, Pappenhausen, Tedesco or something like that. I wouldn't rush to bring him in if you've already got Tessie New as cover. If you've already got the cover there and stuff like that, I wouldn't be rushing to bring him in. But I think he should average between 45 and 50 this year is my call. Pappenhausen was great as well, and he should do well all year. Don't rush too fast to bring in Arrow. He's already priced at over 600. Munster did okay. Murray was solid. Some of these guys like Welch and stuff did fairly well, did what they needed to do. And then you've got guys like Cook. So again, unless you've got glaring issues in your team, I wouldn't be trading out anyone like Cook. They will average in the 60s. You might have a couple of bad games, but he could terrorise Manly this week. So just think of this when you're going through a bunch of these guys, and then you got some of the slightly cheaper guys on the bench like Host. You want to give another crack. 26 in 64 minutes is pretty low, and you expect a little bit better than that. Remus Smith, I'd be worried about a little bit. He should move back to the bench when Brenko Lee comes back. Not the bench, to the wing when Brenko Lee comes back. But yeah, that's that game. Who else do we have? The Knights and the Dogs. Guys like Safidi, I wouldn't be rushing to bring them in your side. He's not going to score 2 tries every week. Brayley did really well, but it was kind of the perfect game for him. I'm expecting around the 50 mark. But again, that'll make him a lot of money. So he's probably someone you want. If you don't have, you want to be looking to bring in. Flanagan did well, but he's already priced as a keeper. Barnett, again, if he's not getting a try and they're not playing the Dogs, he might not kick as many goals and average around the mid-40s. Elliott, again, scored a try for 57. Watson, we're going to have a look at where he's at in terms of his ankle. Hopefully, they strapped it up mid-game. It didn't look very good. So hopefully he starts this week. Guys further down, for Tyler Mariner, we'll just watch for him. He's going to be losing some cash. Hetherington, price really low, but we knew this was going to happen in terms of his PPMs really low, so not someone you want to be thinking about bringing in. Averillo, you want to give another chance, but you might. I had a little look at the fixtures, and someone like Tessie New is playing a slightly easier side than what the Bulldogs have got next week, so just keep that in mind. And the rest of the guys, Corey Allen, bit of an issue at 416k. If you can get him to a Latrell, that's a suggestion I'd try and make as a trade this week. Broncos and Eels. Reid Mane, 105. I wouldn't be expecting anywhere near that every week. Just keep that in mind. Junior Paulo with a try as well. I'm expecting somewhere in the 50s. Carrigan probably won't get the minutes. Moses should have up and down games between the high 40s and the 60s to round out his 50-odd average. Fergo's not going to do this amazing each week. Papali'i, Isaiah, 54 and 56 minutes. I'm maybe expecting somewhere in the 40s, which at price of 5.29 is not someone you probably want to be thinking about bringing in, especially off the bench. Pangai, you'd want to hope for a few more minutes. Milford did well, but can he do that every week? That's the question, but he'll make some good cash this week. Madison, solid. Turpin lost 4 points overnight. So I've got Turpin who's lost 4 points and also Alvaro, which is really annoying. Brown, you want to give another crack. The rest of the guys down here. Brown, again, give another crack. Opacek did well. Sarko, solid. Tessie New, solid at 28 without doing too much. 15 tackles for 1 miss is great. And that's what you want to see in a centre. Jordan Ricky, give him another chance. He won't go this bad again. 23 is bad. Expect 30 or 40 next week at least. And then Lodge's injury. If he's out for more than a week, you definitely got to get rid of him, I think. If there's someone better at that price point, cool. If not, then just throw him on the bench and move on. Who else we got? Warriors and Titans. Alrighty. So Fogarty did great. Fanua Blake solid. Siranen. I was informed that he went off for HIA. I didn't actually see that. So maybe gets a few extra minutes, but looked really solid. 37 tackles, 62 meters. Harris is going to be gun as normal. Fafita apparently is running a fever before the game and during that week. So to still get 60 and 70 minutes was great. And he's going to be a great option. Harris Tavita is going to be solid. Peachy will be solid again. Tino, give him another chance. That was one of his if that's his base and you're happy with that, we're happy with the minutes. If he gets those minutes, he's going to do really well. Brimson and Tuivasa-Sheck, they're going to be up and down. If 30 odds their base, then great. They'll get the 60 odds and average around 50. Egan, I'd be giving another crack. 45 minutes is pretty low. Expect a few more minutes going forward. Aitken apparently had a little bit of an ankle issue going into the game, so hopefully he's a little bit better. And the rest of it, not too important. Roosters, yeah. So they absolutely smashed the Eagles. They're not going to smash teams every week, and you can see all the top guys are there. Kiri did really well, but don't expect 60s every week from him. I'm expecting around 50. Takiaho, you'd want more minutes. DCE should improve. Davey, yeah, got his time. Sweet. Croker, you can't, if he's going to play 80 minutes again, don't expect this bad, but don't expect him to light the world on fire. Somewhere in the 30s would be great, but if Cade Cuss comes on that bench, then Croker's in a bit of trouble. Gostevski's never really been a great option. Walker, never a great option as well. Yeah, that's about all. We'll just go to the last one, just for your big wrap up for the week with your Panthers, and they're going to be really strong. As I said in our previous one, was To'o and Cleary were great, and they're going to be great each week. I think both have really cool base and just score in a lot of areas. Capewell, just be wary that these are the types of minutes, and for him to score a try and still only get 50 is interesting. I think you'll expect a few games around the 40 mark for him. Jensen and Leniu got close to 40 minutes each and did really well. Momorowski, didn't even score a try and got 40, so he's a good option if you need to replace Corey Allen or these types of guys. Who else we got there? Taumalolo, 33 and 51 minutes. I don't expect him to get that low, but watch his price over the next few weeks come down so you can pick him up possibly later. Charlie Staines was just okay. Didn't get to do too much, and same with Masters. So, yeah, just a few guys to follow in there. And if you're enjoying these videos, guys, please hit the like button. It really helps me out. And join the family and hit subscribe. And jump into the Discord group, which is the links in the description. And I hope to see you for plenty of videos in the lead up to round 2. I hope you all did well, and we'll go from there. See you guys. Have fun.